Hi, good morning today, guys. I'm being hit with a bit of an allergy attack today. I already sneezed 3 times today, which is why my mic was muted. We'll see how it goes the rest of the stream here. All right, Nasdaq futures already opening. Looks like coming up towards that trend line we've got drawn there. We'll see how that plays itself out. Usually, you would have this trend line drawn like this, with the secondary point towards the top, and so it would give it less aggressive angle. So possibility that it may run into this part of the trend line. But regardless, either way, even if you line up those two right there, which is kind of how I had it before, you can still see we're still pretty much right there. Now here's the 10-day moving average. 10-day has been resistance. You can see right there, it had a couple closes above it, but that's about it. Coming up to the 10-day, we'll see what happens there. 50 days well up there, so still have that test up and coming whenever that happens. What's up, Blah? So again, guys, I'm being hit by some allergies this morning, so if I go dark on you for a minute, it's just me sneezing and stuff. Like now, hold on. All right. What's up, Noel? So let's take a look at what do we got. Only a few minutes left for the market opens. Um, so yesterday the market had a pretty decent close. Justin, good afternoon. Market yesterday had a good close towards the high of the day. Volume was elevated from prior days, so we're seeing a swath of high volume down here. Hopefully it means that we're done going down for the most part. You never do know. We're still looking for that follow through day. This would be day 2 on the hunt for the follow through day. So we're down 2 days. Just have to see if we can. I bought MJ stock and held all the way down 30%. Well, the one thing about MJ, it's an ETF. It probably will come back. I actually bought a bunch of MJ, and I'm still holding some of that too. But I have some longer options that would give me a pretty good gain, so I'm comfortable holding those. And it is what it is. It was holding very well through the market sell-off until it cracked with the rest of it. So, but yeah, if you're trading general stocks, you really should have a maximum stop loss rule. IBD recommends 8%. That's what I really hold on to, is about 8%. That's my max stop loss for normal stocks. But yeah, we'll see what happens with MJ. It's a fledgling industry. Volatility, we saw it on the way up. Now it's having volatility on the way down. Hopefully it'll right itself. But it may take a little bit. A lot of charts are broken from here. If we're lucky, this is the low. Like I said, if we're lucky, and we'll chop around down here for a while and then hopefully curl back up higher. That would be the healthiest scenario from here. Another healthy scenario would be a really good update and then some nice sideways action, then a continuation. But either way, what we're looking for now is less volatility to the downside. Hopefully we don't undercut this low here, whatever this is on the index you're looking at. But the day before yesterday's low, that'd be Monday or Tuesday. Today's Wednesday, so it'd be Monday's low. So we're looking for Monday's low to not be undercut. And hopefully that'll give us a follow-through day signal here. Not tomorrow, but the next day. So Friday or next week, ideally, would be ideal. And recently we've had these smallish corrections that have come back pretty nicely. So hopefully hopefully we can do that. Okay, usually have stop losses set up. Well, usually and always, make usually turn into always. That's all I got to say about that. Have a trading plan and kind of work that plan. If 8% is your max, you can't let 8% turn into 30%. It just ruins accounts is what it does. Um, I mean, that's the good thing about almost any stock. I say almost any stock because, just people don't want to hold stocks for years and years and years if they're underperforming. But, most stocks, if you hold them for long enough, they'll come back if they're quality. MJ being a fledgling industry, I believe is going to come back. It's just a burgeoning industry. The growth is outrageous. When the growth investors come back, marijuana will be back into to vogue. Cash is an asset. Yes, it absolutely is. Cash is a great asset, especially in times like this. And like I said a little bit ago, we've had these corrections that have come down recently, and yeah, you know what? Let's look at that. Facebook is up. We're only have a few minutes before the market opens, less than that. 2 minutes before the market opens, and Facebook. I bet you Twitter's going to have a good pop on that. We've noted Twitter's been looking really well. I don't have any positions, but kind of wish I did. I'm assuming this is popping as well. Yeah, looks like, yep, it had its earnings, so it's popping. Probably also on Facebook's earnings, it's going to get a bump. Let's take a peek at the aftermarket. Yeah, a little bit towards the high of yesterday. Twitter's popping there. So both of these is kind of beating down stocks. If these can get some help, some legs behind them, we'll be good to go. Stock futures rise. Facebook jumps. Nasdaq eyes worst month since '08. That's good. Maybe. Why this bank stocks formed at a geological pace? What bank are you talking about? Hmm. Yeah, so there's Twitter. We'll see what happens with them. Like I said, they're up towards the high yesterday. They had a pretty good day yesterday. They didn't really close. They didn't really sell off, and holding high over those previous highs over the distribution could be pretty healthy. Slightly elevated volume. A true outside day as well, undercutting the lows and overtaking the highs of the previous day. Looking pretty good. This high volume. Yep, there's the market open. Let me turn my volume down. So you see the Qs here gapping way up because they don't trade on a 24-hour session, whereas the futures do. So let's see what's up here today. We got Sky, CDW. Oh, wow. There's a gap up for you. Look at that. CDW, Momo, Tilroy's up 6%. Facebook's up 5%, gapping up pretty good. As usual, the close is really what you're super interested in. What's Netflix doing here? Out of a bigger double bottom base, you've got there's your actual buy point right there. After earnings, and it looks like it's come way down. Yesterday was a good day. Look at the increased volume. Whoops. If you look at the increased volume on these 3 days right here, a little bit of buying in all three, but this one with the most volume being a low could be good for Netflix. Again, no follow-through day, but some bullish action. I've seen lots of bullish action turn bearish in a correction. So, but Garmin's okay. What's up, Eli? Garmin's taking off. Garmin looking pretty good right there. Yep, coming out of that little double bottom or the little consolidation right there. Very nice. I don't know if I have Garmin on here. I'll throw Garmin on here. I'm not sure if it's on this list. Maybe a bit on my last one. All right, SKW up oh wow, it was here and it just started launching. This thing's gone. Wow. That's a 15-minute candle, ladies and gentlemen. Already way back towards highs. SkyWest Airlines. Wow. Did they have earnings? What is that? Yeah, they beat by, looks like 12 cents. I guess the market likes that because they're gone. I wouldn't buy them up 18% though. Not an airline. No way. No way, Big Daddy. What else? URI, after breaking that channel pretty definitively, coming back. So these are hopefully these FLT. Oh, I love FLT. Wow, it had a big drop, up 6% on earnings. Looks like it's selling off already. Now, what are you doing? So now undercut the 200-day. Not for very long, about 4 days. It gapped well above the 200-day on some earnings. Looks like they beat by just under 5 cents. Apparently the street likes that. Here's some good volume right there. Oh, that was earnings a few days ago. So now we're gapping up today above the 200-day. This looks like a good day so far. Let's keep going. Hopefully we'll, like I said, you can have some really good days in some, I'm going to call it a bear market, but it's not a bear market. You can have some really good days in a correction, a bear market, and them turn around on you just as quickly. You've already seen a few of those. So let's just kind of see how it goes right there. CTW, there's Grub, not really moving a whole lot. URI. Facebook Gap selling off a little bit. Momo sold off. Twilio holding up. Twilio holding up above its 200-day moving average. So kind of at this stage of the game, we talked about this yesterday as well. You want to look for stocks that are holding up the best. Hold on a second. Okay. But yeah, so you want to look for the stocks that are holding up the best. Let's see what Ulta's doing. Yesterday it was, okay, now it's up 2% today. Had a pretty red day yesterday for a stock that's holding up really well. And a big red day yesterday. So we'll wait for that to break out, as we should with pretty much most entries. You should wait for the breakout. All right, so see, MasterCard is one of those stocks that you never get sold off this deep. It just doesn't happen. Go back historically, MasterCard, Visa. I mean, think about it. These guys have hands in a vast majority of the financial transactions of consumers in America, and there's no reason it should be down 18%. Zero. As a matter of fact, looking at yesterday was earnings day. Okay, it closed here. Never mind. I thought it closed up here on that kind of a volume. Yeah, so MasterCard, your buy point on MasterCard would technically be up here at the 208 level. That would be kind of your double bottom base right there. All right, Roku, Yandex. CDNA, look at that, already kind of popping over a trend line. That's some really good strength. Again, earnings coming up in a week. And just a little pop right there even. Looking pretty good. I need to catalog these things, which I don't have a good system for that Matches not looking too bad. We talked yesterday about it coming to a prior breakdown point. Or, I'm sorry. I talk every day and I still get all these terms confused. These always come down to a previous high. This one came down to this previous high. Not sure this would be considered a base on base at this point. Let's take a look. Which would be fairly healthy, a base on base. Nope, would not be considered a base on base. It's up too high. This would just be another base. So it'd be a second stage base. Like I said, hopefully if the markets go sideways for a while, some of these stocks can form some good, really good bases for us to buy off of. That's your best case scenario here, I think. What else do we have? MJ stock, MasterCard. Amazon's up 3%. Pretty good gap off of a low there. That's good. It's going to buoy the market. What's Apple doing? I don't have Apple on my list. They're up 1.87%. Having a bit of a neutral day. Looks like quite a bit of the market's gapping up today. That's either very good or very scary because that means they're going to sell it off later. Not quite sure which. Still haven't really broken that trend line, although we have come closer to it. We have moved a little bit higher throughout this morning on the NASDAQ. 3D Systems down 22% on earnings. Look at that. Wow. Pretty aggressive. IQ gap down. Earnings happened. They just didn't post on the screen here. So gap down on earnings. DDD, I'm going to look at SSYS, which is kind of okay, that's another 3D printing stock. Coming up to support in a triangle situation. Proto Labs, which is in the same industry, although they kind of do something different these days. I don't remember the specifics. Undercutting the 200-day moving average, which Proto Labs hasn't done in a while. Yeah, Proto Labs hasn't undercut the 200-day in quite some time. So here's the thing, from these levels, like I said, things could take a while to get back. And what I mean by that is this. Let's go back a few more years here on Proto Labs. You see here, undercuts and then does a bunch of FUD, and then it starts to break out after. This one took a few years for it to truly break out. You see right there, the moving averages are all converging. I'm looking at the moving averages on this chart. They're all converging right there, showing choppiness. And then when you get the clean break of the 3, boom, boom, boom. And that happens pretty quickly after about a month or two of this run. Those moving averages right there start to diverge altogether. And that didn't really happen at all. So let's look. Is there any place where they diverge? No, the 200-day was pretty much flat this entire time. And this is where that run ended in 2013. You see the 200-day with the aggressive uptrend moving into a sideways action. When you have the diverging of those moving averages like that, that's really when you want to pay attention. When a real trend is developing, that's a good way of telling, is when those moving averages diverge and you can see them cleanly. So, and now we're going into a situation where the moving averages are reconverging a little bit. We got the 10 undercutting the 50 and the 200, and we'll see what happens here going forward. But ideally, in our best case scenario, we just kind of go down for a few months and come up. And kind of what, in a not a worst case, but a not as good case scenario, is where we go into more of a choppy market. Because you can see here, even on the moving averages, you're seeing the same. On the indexes, you're seeing the same moving averages converge here. That's could mean we're going into a bit of a choppy market cycle for maybe a while. I don't know. This was a pretty aggressive sell-off, so it doesn't seem to be as tame as we've seen in the past. Fully undercutting that moving average right there. I'm on the weekly, so I think this is the. It's not going to tell me. It's the 18. What the hell's the 18? 18 is nothing. So we'll make this the 10, the 10-week moving average, which would make it exponential. No, that was an experimental thing. That would make it akin to the 50-day moving average. Slightly different, but like I said, akin to it. Okay, so there's the 10 and there's the 10 week and the 40 week akin to the 50-day and the 200-day. And you can see here bouncing off of that 200-day moving average so far here, undercutting that. Could mean much further choppiness ahead. You can see here we went into that same choppy type of scenario for about a year. And this has been such a good run-up, I wouldn't doubt it too much. The economy is very, I won't say overextended, but very heated. And I just heard yesterday the Fed was talking about perfect inflation at 2%. That's ideally their target inflation rate for the economy is 2% annually. And we've been pretty heated all through the past couple of years. And so maybe we're going to go into another little base and then continue higher. So again, a situation where we may not necessarily go into new highs with the general indexes. Some individual stocks will run, some sectors will run. That's why it's important to understand a little bit about sectors. And another reason why IBD is a great resource. It does a good job of keeping you apprised on what sectors are doing. But you can do the same thing yourself through ETFs and things of that nature. Market now at 2% today. Looking pretty good there on the weekly. Having a close up here would be healthy, but you know, it's only Wednesday, a couple days left in the week, and pretty much most of Wednesday. So we'll see where we end up here. I got Facebook up 5%. Again, having to fix this. I don't know where I can fix this wholeheartedly, but it's very annoying. Facebook doing pretty good. Let's see what Twitter's doing. Didn't really look at Twitter yet. Up 3% today. That's great. That's really good for Twitter. That's that's excellent. Should have bought back down here when I was talking about it before earnings, but never buy before earnings. You just kind of have to let those go. Too much volatility. Just too much. All right, yeah, market moving up through that trend line. Let's go ahead and back to the daily. Looks like we are through that trend line. Right there, right at it. So we're moving higher today, which is good. Still within the first half hour, still can play some games. What stocks are you guys looking at? Got some slow chat here today. It's got me talking to myself. What are you guys looking at here? Any specific names you guys like? Oh, they got smart and removed that list until the first 15 minutes. There you go. Best ETFs, that's new. And we're trying to rally. Getting over these highs would be good back here. Be pretty healthy. Tilroy up 4%. We'll see if we stall right there at those two highs. Right about that 7K level again. We mentioned, I think it was last week, 7K was kind of our support. We broke that obviously right there, and now it's become resistance. So it'll probably maintain as a resistance for right now. Best case scenario, in my opinion, is that we can chop here between preferably 67 and 7K for a while. That would be a nicer consolidation. Maybe give a chance to reload on some of these stocks that are up pretty high today. But again, we're still looking for that follow through today. There's no confirmation that we are done. What's SQ? SQ we were looking at yesterday is one that was well, well below a level where it shouldn't be at, and gapping up today. Pretty good, 5% right there. In these kinds of markets, these are the stocks that are usually the best to buy if you're into value buying kindness. Not really value, but value buying growth, if you will. And in these little market downturns are a good opportunity to try a strategy like that. Although blindly trying new strategies is difficult. You just notice this from time to time. It's kind of similar to my high volume on the TQQQs. Square is a name that it's not going away. Payment processors are usually growing, especially new and innovative ones, which Square is definitely an innovative payment processing company. So some profit taking up here, but it's not super aggressive, just a few days. And then we'll see what happens from there. But if you guys have favorite stock, a lot of guys like certain stocks. Like, I like this stock, I like that stock. Unfortunately, I don't like anything. I think Tesla probably would be the only thing that I like. Square maybe as well. Square, possibility for Square, just because of it's had such a slow and steady run up. That's just institutional accumulation at its finest right there. And you can see here on the weekly, it's just not really getting very low, not really breaking any major trends. So Square looking good. What is Tesla doing today? Holding pretty tight at 330. There you go. Holding pretty tight. Yep, NASDAQ showing resistance right there towards 7K. We're seeing a little bit of a sell-off. Could be the top for the day. Could be, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Let's go to the 15-minute. Let's go to the 5-minute. We only have a few 15-minute sessions in here. And bigger topping candle right there towards 69.80. All right, it's getting a couple of stocks in here. Thanks for participating, y'all. NVIDIA. Eli mentioned, I think it was Eli mentioned, someone mentioned NVIDIA yesterday. We do a trend line on NVIDIA. Looks like it stopped right at that trend line and is falling a little bit here. AZN looks strong. Is Noel's comment? Let's take a peek. Oh yeah, looking pretty good there. Definitely bounced off that 200-day moving average. We don't have quite the divergence of the moving averages here, but we do have a steady incline. Pretty choppy though overall. Oh wow, NQ getting bought right back up. Look at that. That's good. Yeah, not too bad. No discernible base here, just what looks like a rising channel. Eli, what else you looking at, buddy? So there's your rising channel right there in AZN. Probably trade within that channel. I don't know if I would trade for a breakout of the channel. It's pretty well established at this point. So if it gets up, probably short it or sell anything, and then well, apparently you're at your keyboard. You're typing, okay? You're typing. Just kidding. And we're selling off again. Oh, we're buying again. I'm just joking with you, Eli. Just joking with you. So there's AZN on the weekly in that longer uptrend. You out of here, Blay? Have a good one, buddy. Eli's looking at FFIV. Okay, out of the same kind of a bottoming pattern here, kind of lows. Already after earnings, which is important. Declining volume. Looks like it's trying to break that high at 175. Got about 13% to the 200 if it gets up there. Market showing some strength right here, which it looks like it was going to try to show weakness, and that got reversed into some buying. So pretty good right there. FFIV is a leading stock. Looking pretty good. Bought the dip on AZN, planning to sell soon. Yeah, that channel I think is a good place to sell if you could sell it up here towards above the 40 level. Looks like around 40, 41. iRobot's been one that's been interesting. On the weekly here, you can see it pulled back to a prior low level. Stopped actually beneath. It'd be great if it stopped there. 84.67. It's above there right now, so not the end of the world there, but big gap down. Not a big fan of the gaps. Good though, it's after earnings. Pretty low volume here, so yeah, definitely no selling there. and the gapping up with the rest of the market. And then W, what's W? Wayfair. Online retailer earnings coming up tomorrow before market. So today is the gambling day. But there's the 200-day. So far being respected at the 200-day. Elevated volume could show some accumulation right there. That could be a good sign for Wayfair. And it looks like it's down quite a bit. Got 36% up to recent highs there. So that's not too bad there. And that distribution coming back in, showing its head. That resistance is 7,000. It's too strong. That could be the top print. We'll have to wait and see. Slightly elevated volume. Nothing really giving it away, but definitely a reversal candle on higher volume. Basically a stalling candle. Some accumulation, some stalling at 7,000. They could be instructed to buy it below as much as they can below 7,000. You never quite know how these things play out, but a big gap up there. Oh, iRobot had a W pattern. How am I supposed to know that? You just give me two variables, Eli. I don't know the definition of those variables. You mean this W pattern on the weekly? Yeah, and so I know I mentioned that could be the top play. That's very premature, by the way. Sometimes I just talk because I have to talk. You see what this here did yesterday. It kind of W'd out throughout the day as well and ended up closing higher. So we could definitely have some volatility here. But after such a big gap, see this gap yesterday wasn't as nearly as pronounced as this. When you have big gaps like this, they're usually more prone to sell-offs. But let's get out of the intraday charts. Get out of the intraday charts. It's really bigger to look at the larger levels. Like I said, 7K, and ideally I'd like it to stay above 6,700. But you know, it could spike down to 66 just to scare the crap out of us a few more times. If they stop buying, it may continue selling. If they notice there's large selling blocks, they may let it just sell off lower. Then they'll rebuy down here at 66. Yeah, well, we're looking for a follow-through day technically, Eli. We're looking for a follow-through day. But yeah, 7K needs to break absolutely. Now here's the thing is this, this isn't... These are situations that usually don't rebound extremely quickly. These are very abnormal right here. These, especially this first one. This was a very abnormal retracement. Everyone got happy very quick, which is why it sold off again. And then it ended up with a much slower rise into the next several months. And now we're here. So the healthier scenario typically would be some type of a cup situation, some consolidation around here. Like I said, I think the best thing that can happen would be to chop around this low area for a while, maybe even up until towards the end of the year, to be honest with you, and then kind of rally higher. The stock market doesn't work well off of very small bases. The stock market really likes launch pads. You can't launch a space shuttle off of my front porch. You've got to do it off of a space shuttle launch pad, which is massive, and that's how these space shuttles launch. Is they kind of launch off a launch pad. Right now that upward momentum has been broken. It was stalled over here, and at this point I think it's broken. So it's going to take a much bigger launch pad for us to go higher again, and that could take a while. Like I said, in a minimum, we should, if we based down here, maybe had a couple highs, came down, not undercutting too many new lows, that would be really good. I would really like that. Then at that point, what you're looking for is, just like we're looking for today, what's outperforming, what sectors are doing really well. Where's the money going to? Where are they moving their money to? Because they just took it out of some. They just took it out of a couple of stocks. Estee Lauder, wow, gap up huge today, 8%. See, these gap ups like this aren't super healthy. Oh, Musk bought 10 million of Tesla. 2 days ago. I did not know that. What if your friend's the mayor of Houston? Well, then you have him build you a launch pad sooner, hopefully. So I'm over here on FinViz. I guess I'm on FinViz, and I happen to see Top Insider Trading. Elon Musk had a buy of 10 million bucks. He's got enough money. I was going to go over here to the. I'm going to try to find the ETFs. I always forget what they are. I think the screener here. Hey, Bubbles is pretty. Here we go. Sectors. Okay, so grouping by sectors. Utilities, industrial, basic materials, healthcare, financial, technology, services, consumer goods. So still seeing technology with quite a few gains. Oh, this is dope. This is super cool. I want to be a front-end engineer over here at FinViz. This is fun. Oh, look at that. You can kind of consolidate things here into what you want. Oh, this is gorgeous, man. This is great. Look at all the utilities. Down here, which is good. Utilities being down is good. I like this. This is a cool representation. Let me get back in here with the chat. You guys like this? This is pretty neat. I'm enjoying this. Okay, so you can load just any sector if you want. And we can see that services sector has quite a few elevated here. Above the 3%. You got a few big cap names, obviously, up above 3%, which is throwing that NASDAQ higher. Financials doing good. MasterCard, SIVB having a good day, it looks like. BXP, ISRG. This is pretty cool. I like this. This is fun. This is fun. Eli, let's build this. Just with our own criteria. Oh, you can switch axes. There you go. Oh, that's kind of trippy. I don't know if I like that. FLT. It's my buddy FLT. Huge gap up. That gap for FLT probably will not get filled. I'm just throwing that one out there right now. A gap like that in a company like FLT, that's a pretty big frickin' gap for it to come back and fill. Why build it if it's already built? Well, with our own criteria, I'm saying they've got limited criteria. That's a good gap on FLT. That's a really good gap. I would not be surprised if that never gets filled. Still got to wait a while. I wouldn't necessarily buy it right up here, but looks pretty interesting there. Gotta love FLT. Although last time I checked, its earnings weren't as explosive as they once were. You can see here quarter over quarter, it's down, actually negative growth. But you see the volume down here on these lows, even right before earnings, very high volume. I'm assuming they pretty much knew the earnings were going to be good. They just loaded up. All right, 3D Systems still down here. Solo still down. Someone mentioned SOI was going to have earnings coming up. All right, Eli, you too, buddy. Take it easy. So let's take a bigger picture. Talk about SOI a little bit. NASDAQ up 2.4. Is it rallying still? Oh, look at that. It's still going. Still trying to breach 7K, guys. Got to 69.80. It got to that level. Wow. Look at that. This is why you can't guess. You just have to go with the markets, guys. And we're getting pretty close to our high volume. Oh, no, that's our, what we thought was our high volume down to ended up being the following day, luckily. 69.90. Getting some good movement here. I feel better about adding my position down here now. Come on, break a trend line. If we can consolidate up here, that would be much better. That would be fantastic. Then you're talking about potentially, then you're talking about potentially trying to, looking at getting into some positions. I don't think you get into them here. We're going to have at least a few more days. Okay, that's a very disingenuous statement. We're definitely going to have more time of choppiness. This isn't, going to be 2 really good days, and then we're off to the races. There's going to be days where we're going to have hard days, and if we get a follow-through day, we can't have one today, though, unfortunately, and we probably won't, just due to it's impossible. It's only 2 days in, so no follow-through day today. But we don't want to have too much too soon either. This will just give the sellers another chance to sell. This is what I was hoping for, some sideways action, but I don't mind good green days. That's not that I don't like good green days, but you see right here, and this was off of an extreme low here, just like this kind of was off a low, but there was some accumulation right there. You have the 4 days of run up, and then it starts to sell off again, and that's kind of what tends to happen. You get a few days of good, and then more days of bad. In an uptrend, you have more days of good than bad. In a bear trend, you have more days of bad than good. So, we'll see what happens here with this. All right, hitting 7K. What was its high right there? 69.93.5. 69. I saw 95 printed, and we're having a battle right there, right at 7K. Big round psychological number. Have a couple of previous highs at it, and this one stopped right at 7K as well. The low of the day was 7,000. So definitely we're going to have some resistance at the 7,000 level, and you're seeing that battle right now. So poking his head a little bit higher. Maybe this is the high of the day. We shall see. But the market's looking okay. A lot of gaps. I don't like this many gaps. A lot of these will need to be backed and filled, unless the market just wants to rally back, which it can do. Ideally, I'd like to buy off of some kind of a consolidation over the next couple of weeks in some of these names. As Jesse Livermore says, trying to buy the bottom 8th of the market is the most expensive, because at that point you're guessing. But if you can find a base, at least a small base to buy off of, that would be more advantageous than just blindly buying. So, all right, guys, I'm going to get out of here. Yep, I'm a bounce. All right, guys, have a good day. See if that 7K holds. We got the 200 moving average coming up right there. It looks like 7,080. That's going to be a level of resistance, and then up above later on in the year, we'll end up fighting with that 73.87 or whatever the 50-day is at that particular point in time. So I'm going to bounce, guys. Have a good day. I will see you tomorrow.